You're watching TelecomTV from the MEF annual members meeting in Boston. And I'm joined now by Andy Mayer, who is the LSO Chief Architect at the MEF. Andy, thanks for joining us on TelecomTV.
Oh, no problem, Guy. Thanks for having me here.
No, our pleasure's all ours. Can I ask about where we are with LSO? LSO being lifecycle services orchestration.
Right.
What's the current state of play?
So we just published MEF 55, which is the overarching reference architecture, which sets all the guiding principles around LSO. So we were able to define all the different components and domains related to lifecycle service orchestration and the essential set of high-level requirements. And now we're on to phase two. And phase two is really exciting. We've just about one quarter into the work of phase two. It has a number of different areas. If I can elaborate on those if you want.
Please, yes.
So currently our focus in the last quarter has been on defining what we call operational threads, which are end-to-end operational flows that go through the whole life cycle of perhaps ordering to configuration of a service or monitoring performance or allowing the customer to control a service. Each of those threads are defined, which include the steps of all the interactions among the components in our architecture. So what we're trying to do is really characterize all the interactions across what we call interface reference points. And it will allow us to help drive the APIs that will need to be defined in order to really make LSO happen.
And why is that important? Why is it important that we define the APIs?
So we have interoperability, of course. So interoperability is key, right? So in LSO we're dealing with a multi-vendor environment, we're dealing with multiple sub-network domains, we're also dealing with multiple domains from a customer, service provider, and operator perspective. So we allow the service provider to interact with a number of potentially different partners to provide portions of the service they might not be able to provide themselves, as well as underneath. They could have domains that are legacy WAN controlled domains, or they could also emerge SDN controllers, et cetera, and allow those APIs to control those subdomains within the service provider area.
Now we're seeing at the moment quite a pronounced shift towards open networking. Why is this becoming more important?
Well, open networking is important because it's powerful for the customer, right? So the customer base is changing. Things are moving toward a cloud-oriented area. We're seeing network functions move from legacy hardware to virtualized network functions running in data centers. So it's very interesting in that respect because it allows you to have a lot more control over the overall components of a service that provide the end-to-end connectivity as well as the functions that the customer needs. So it's almost, use the term network slicing or if you want to call it that, but it allows the customer to view their service as a network, right? So this view of what the customer is being provided seems like their own network, and they will have the ability to control the different aspects of that network, be it firewall functionality or bandwidth connectivity, directly, and they'll see changes happen almost immediately. And those open APIs allow that to happen.
So how does the MEF's OpenLSO fit here?
So OpenLSO is MEF's, it's really tying, I like to call it agilization of standards, if you want to use that term. So MEF's been very good at writing specifications, very generic service specifications for carrier Ethernet services. That's how we started. And we're taking that legacy that we have and moving it forward into open connectivity and network functions for the end-to-end services. But with OpenLSO, what we're doing is allowing what we're specifying from an operational perspective, from a control perspective, to be implemented. And we're learning from those implementations and bringing that back into our specifications. And we'd also like to partner with other open initiatives as well, because it does allow multiple providers of software to go out and code this stuff up, tell us what's working, tell us what's not working, figure out where gaps are, and allow us to enhance our specs as well. But our specs also provide guidance to what's being developed in those open initiatives.
Right, and is this sort of inter-standard, inter-body relationship becoming more important?
Absolutely. We're seeing from an information model perspective, we have a new agreement that we're pushing forward with ONF and Telemanagement Forum to define common information models. So instead of having all these different bodies define similar things in different ways, it doesn't lead to interoperability. So having cooperation among multiple standards development organizations allows us to more likely converge on a common solution.
So if we step back a bit and look at the main challenges, what are the challenges of trying to orchestrate and assuring services across, as you've already mentioned, both physical and virtual environments.
Right, so having the right level of abstraction is key, and being able to partition your abstractions. Of course, down at what we call infrastructure control management, you have to have details as to how things are implemented. But from a service level orchestration perspective, what we call the service orchestration functionality of the SOF, it doesn't really need to know how things are instantiated below, but it needs to understand a picture of what capabilities are provided by the underlying infrastructure, what can be connected to what types of functions are provided, what the topology might look like from a high level perspective in order to piece together the different components that form the end-to-end connectivity. So really the key is the abstractions that we're defining here at MEF from a product level, service level, and a resource level.
And how will these new technologies, LSO, but also SDN and NFV, together, how will they impact and shape the services market going forward?
Because it allows the dynamic types of services to be provided, right? So we can provide services very quickly, very dynamically. We can allow the customer to change their service behaviors very quickly. We're also looking at introducing more policy-based controls over the services. So by implementing policy-based management at these various different levels and intent-based interfaces, it allows the customer to really interact with their service in a very natural way, but it allows those changes to be affected by whatever the underlying resource levels are providing that central capability.
Now, we've already spoken about OpenLSO, but what more work needs to be done within MEF to develop the whole LSO framework?
Right, so we have a number of different things that we're working on. We have process models that we're working, as I said, the operational threads, we're continuing that. We have functional requirements for the interface reference points for describing all the different interactions among the components. We have interrelationship with SDN, NFV, trying to really characterize what exactly those interactions are. We have a good understanding of it, but we need to formalize more specifically of what the service orchestration function is and how it interacts with those components underneath from an SDN, NFV perspective. We're looking at a security framework, a policy framework. So these are all types of things that we're filling more details in now. We're decomposing the service orchestration function to identify all the different functional components that make up the service orchestration function, from designing new services, onboarding services, instantiating services, configuring, controlling services, monitoring performance, monitoring security, the whole life cycle. So we have a good framework to start from, and now we're filling in the details.
Great. Well, Andy, we look forward to following the LSO development in the months to come. For now, though, Andy, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.